All right. So first things first. I guess we'll dive right into the movies and TV reviews.
Awesome.
Okay. So what you got on your list? I know you got a few. I got a few as well. You can start off.
So the first movie that I have, and I've been using this time mostly to watch movies and kind of catch up on what's newish, or since there's not many new movies out, you have to find the new-ish movies, and then some
Right.
old movies that I maybe either have watched, a long time ago, or that I have not yet to see that I need to catch up on. So the first movie that I've watched that's considered new is a movie called Extraordinary. So I came across this film through Alamo Drafthouse, which is a local cinema where you can eat and drink and watch movies all together. Really fun place. I love the brand. I love the community, and they show a lot of movies that you typically wouldn't get to see at like a Cinemark or AMC. And their rules also are super strict in a good way, where they don't let people on their phone, they don't let people talk. But it's a great place to support. And through their website, they have, in order to keep business going, they have Alamo at Home. So essentially, what that is they have different options where you can stream movies, you can buy some merchandise to support them, and then in some locations, I think in Austin, you can actually order some food, get some curbside delivery, things like
Oh
that.
wow.
So
Well, I was just gonna say, yeah, I love Alamo Drafthouse, and for y'all, those of you listening that don't know, Alamo Drafthouse is amazing because I personally like that they at the beginning of every movie they'll basically give you a history of the movie if you're not caught up to date with it, and I believe they're doing that on their website as well. Isn't that right? What you
yeah,
said?
so what he's talking about is the pre-show, which is always fun to watch when you come into the movie. At least 30 minutes
Yeah.
early, you get a little pre-show. It's fun little, like he's saying, history snippets or random clips that kind of get you in the mood and kind of give you a little bit of context of what you're about to watch, rather than having to sit and watch a bunch of local ads. They kind of make it fun, and they actually included that as part of the Alamo at Home experience. So if you go to drafthouse.com, you can go there and help support them because we want them to make it through this. Um, so yeah, buy some merch, shop shop the movies, check out what they've got, and I know they're going to be consistently adding movies as the months go. But this one I found called Extraordinary. Basically,
Okay.
I won't give a lot away because I want it to be a surprise. But basically, the pitch that they give in the description is Napoleon Dynamite meets Ghostbusters. And so essentially, what that is all the quirkiness and fun that you'd get from like Napoleon Dynamite, mixed in with all like the ghost hunting and creepiness and spookiness of like Ghostbusters. So basically, you get what you're sold here and more. Definitely a movie I would check out. It stars Will Forte and a few other actors from the UK that are lesser known, but it's hilarious. It's spooky and it's fun. I'd highly recommend it. So if you go check it out, I can't remember the streaming service that it's on, but like I said, if you go to drafthouse.com, you can stream it. It's only $12, I think, and that's
Okay, that's not too bad.
yeah, and it's a great film to check out, especially something to keep your spirits high.
Okay. Well, awesome. Okay, for my movie, I actually chose Spencer Confidential. It's a movie starring Mark Wahlberg. It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. Actually, it was in the top 10 there for a little bit of time when Netflix started doing that. But basically, without giving too much away, the plot of it is Mark Wahlberg is a Boston cop, and it opens up with the scene. Again, I don't want to give much away, but Post Malone is in the movie, which I thought was kind of unusual.
That is
But
very
and he's a Dallas boy, so we got to represent him. But he was in there, and basically he's in prison. So a cop in prison. Okay, obviously he's going to get beat up, and there's a big fight scene that breaks out, and he come to find out he gets out, and you learn through Spencer, Mark Wahlberg's character, that a bunch of the Boston police officers are corrupt, and they're all in on this big grand scheme that's going on. And so basically, the movie takes place and deals with him and his sidekick
mhm.
that go and they basically single handedly try to take down the system. It's very interesting to see how they go about doing so. So definitely check that out. And Mark Wahlberg is the main actor. There's kind of a bunch of no names. His sidekick, I forget his name, escapes me, but I bet we'll be seeing a lot more of him because he did a pretty good job of playing just the big brute, like the bodyguard, his right hand man. So
And it's Mark Wahlberg playing Mark Wahlberg.
yeah, essentially because all the Wahlbergs are from Boston. So I mean, it's like,
Yeah,
I mean, who better to fit this movie? I mean, it basically was like how he was in the other guys, but it's a little more serious, more actiony.
well, that's
So yeah, it's very Mark Wahlberg esque, if you will.
Wahlberg-ish.
Yeah.
Okay,
So yeah, check that one out for sure.
I will. Another movie or movies that I've been watching are by the director of Wes Anderson. So if you're not familiar with him, he's actually a native Texan,
Okay.
Houston area, and he's pretty well known by now. He's been in the game for just about 20 years now,
Right.
and all his movies are so interesting. They're quirky. Um, they're very stylistic of his style. He really looks into detail. All of his shots are like very symmetrical. So like you'll have a person either directly in the center or directly in this third, and he plays with depth. And it's just really fun to see those little quirks in his movies. But it's like a consistent style that he uses across all of his movies. But they're all uh, different topics, different people, and different stories with the same kind of actors. So he'll make like his first movie, for instance, is Bottle Rocket, stars Owen and Luke Wilson, the brothers, and he uses that cast of people throughout some of the other movies, such as Bill Murray, Jeff Goldblum shows up, Owen and Luke Wilson, Jason Schwartzman,
Wow.
lots of people, Angelica Houston,
Mhm.
William Dafoe shows up a few times. So he's got this like cast of actors that he uses in all of his movies and kind of rotates them out. It's really funny because all the movies feel connected, but they're all so different, but fit in this like little pocket universe he's created. But like I said, all the fun, comedy um, and just smart wit that he does with his dialogue and style kind of makes it fun to watch and a really cool experience. So if you haven't checked out Wes Anderson, highly suggest it. Right now, I'm starting with his first movie, Bottle Rocket, and then I'll watch all the way up to Isle of Dogs, which is his most recent film, and it's like a stop motion animation, which he's done two of those, Fantastic Mr. Fox and Isle of Dogs, and seeing how those movies are made, which is crazy. It takes like 2 years or more to make them because they create all the scenes and shoot all of the frames with the camera and then put it all together at the end. So there's a lot of preparation that goes into that, but he's so detailed with his set design, with his character design, and composition that it feels like a Wes Anderson movie, even though it's animated. So watching all those, I think we only have two more left, and then after those, I plan on ranking them in some kind of format, maybe my favorites or something like that. But definitely looking forward to finishing that series. And then another director series I'm looking forward to is Christopher Nolan. He's got a film coming out hopefully this year. Still, is called Tenet, and so I'm going to watch all his movies leading up to that, which are great movies. He's such a great director. And Wes Anderson, his new
Yeah,
movie, French
absolutely.
Respect.
Yeah, that's a neat concept to do that just from start to finish. Just go through a whole discography of all the directors' movies. I'd really like to do that with Quentin Tarantino personally.
Yes,
Just very unique, just like Wes Anderson, like you said, just very distinct film style. And like I said, a lot of times we'll have the same actors and actresses come through. You'll see him more than once in his movies. So yeah, I think that's a really neat concept, and all your listeners out there, I think might be interested in doing that too.
yeah, I would argue that Quentin Tarantino, Wes Anderson, Christopher Nolan, they're some of the best directors working right now. With
Oh
the
yeah,
they're
absolutely.
putting out. And a lot of their movies, a lot of their audience are fans of the directors. So like, it's not necessarily a franchise that people are going to see; it's a director they're going to see. Sort of like how
Yeah,
people do that with actors and actresses.
right. And anything in life, someone puts a brand on it with their name or logo, they're crazy about it because it's just so unique. It's a
Yeah, it's
unique
like I don't
style.
know anything about this movie, but I know I'm going to like it because this person made it.
Right. Exactly, and it's the truth. Next on the list, we got action movie I know you've seen as well.
Mhm.
Onward, and
Yep.
that's the Disney Plus movie that's animated, and it features Chris Pratt and Tom Holland. And I got to tell you, it was pretty emotional. It was a tearjerker. Because I
It's
mean, for
very
those of you,
intense too.
yeah, yeah, exactly. A very unique relationship to see Chris Pratt and Tom Holland working together. So I'll explain to listeners if you haven't seen Onward yet. It's about a story of two brothers. Chris Pratt plays the older brother. Tom Holland plays the younger brother, and they're voicing them. And essentially, their dad. You can tell early on in the movie, their dad's not in their part of their life anymore. He passed away for whatever reason. And so one day, well, I'll describe the character. So basically, Chris Pratt's character is kind of the goofy older brother. It's kind of like, oh, hey, I'm goofy and I make mistakes and I'm loud. And Tom Holland's the younger brother is completely opposite. He's like super timid and like, oh, I'm going to be,
Well,
quiet.
they're elves. That's the other thing. It's like in this kind of modern day fantasy kind of world that they've created. And
Yeah,
these are,
because
I think they're elves, right?
I guess so. I don't know. Some creatures they look like elves because they're blue, and so I assume they're night elves or something. But Chris Pratt's character is super big into like Dungeons and Dragons. So yeah, basically it's the whole, like you said, the whole scenario is basically a fictional mystical world. But anyway, without giving away too much, basically one day their mom says, "Hey, your dad left this for y'all, and it's a rod that." Come to find out, Chris Pratt's character was like, "Oh, we can bring Dad back with this." And so one day they tried out, and unfortunately, they only had one crystal, and they needed two, and so it only brought half the Dad back, but it was just his bottom half, so from the waist down. So the whole time they're communicating through him, like with their feet, um, or whatnot. And so the whole journey is they're trying to find the other crystals to get to spend time because they only have 24 hours, so they want
Right.
to spend time with their dad, and so they go. The whole adventure is them, going to
Road
find the
trip.
crystals. Like, yeah, road trip, a classic road trip movie.
Right.
So,
Two brothers
yeah,
on
and
the road.
definitely, yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I related a lot to the older brother,
Mhm.
um, and he, it was emotional. I shed a tear at the end because, for those who don't know, my father passed away of cancer, and so this one really hit hard with me. But yeah, definitely check it out. I definitely recommend it. It's a great movie.
Yeah. So
So you
you,
got anything else to add to it?
well, see, you mentioned that you related to the older brother. See, for me, I'm a younger sibling, so I related more to Tom Holland's character, which was interesting because like you can watch movies like this and get two different reactions from it just based on your own life experience, and that's the beauty of art. Everybody has their own way of viewing things, and especially with your history with your dad, like that plays into this. So that story becomes so layered, and there's so many things that you can latch onto, and that's what makes it such a great movie. Definitely something to check out. It was the last movie I saw in the theater before all this, so you don't necessarily have to see it in the theater to enjoy it, but for sure, that story is very strong, and there's so many layers that you can latch on to. If you're not into fantasy, that's not a big deal. If you don't have any siblings, that's not a big deal. It's a great movie all
Right.
around, but there's definitely those tropes that are played with, whether that be the road journey or the father son relationship or the brother relationship that they play with, the familiar stuff that we know, but have executed in such a wonderful way that tells a beautiful story.
Yeah, exactly. And just going off of that, Disney does such a great job and with all their movies, really, of painting that perfect scenario and just making a great story. Like you said, there's some Disney movies I love, but I'm like I don't relate to this at all. But it's just hands down, it's a great movie. Like you
Yeah,
can't deny that. So
some of them
oh,
aren't made for. I've realized over the years that some things aren't made for me, and that's okay because it could really impact somebody else, and that's the beauty of it.
right, because you can tell someone else is really into it because of this, and this. And you name off the scenarios, but also Disney just has great music all the time. So
Yeah,
so
the
it
soundtrack
attracts
is
me to
great.
it.
I remember specifically. There's a song by the band Cars from the '80s,
Yes. Mhm.
and that was really cool. It really set the tone because like it has a lot of different like '80s and '70s songs in the soundtrack, but it really helped set the tone for the movie. It's very laid back and fun, and but yeah, highly recommend that one if you catch it now on Disney Plus or iTunes or something to stream that.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it would be this new movie starring Ed Helms. It's a
Okay.
Netflix original. It's called Coffee and Kareem.
Kareem.
Kind of a Kareem, not cream, because it is spelled Kareem.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, so basically, this story is about Ed Helms. He's a cop, and Kareem
Noticing
is
a trend here with the cop movies.
yeah. No, I know. I'm telling you, I've been big into the crime and cop movies. I don't know why. I get sucked into them. Also, I love Ed Helms, and some people say I resemble him a little bit, so I'm not offended by that. I, in fact, welcome that. But anywho, so with Coffee and Kareem, Ed Helms is this cop that's like trying to do good, as most cops do.
Hmm.
And the son Kareem is the son of his current girlfriend. Um, Basically, Kareem has it out for Coffee because he caught Coffee sleeping with his mom, and he's like, I don't even know this guy. What the heck? And
Yeah.
so the whole movie is about their relationship of and I'll be honest, I didn't like Kareem at first because he just is constantly just, bashing at Helms. I'm like, whoa, I'm like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
But in the end, you kind of see where their relationship, they start to, kind of take a different turn. So that's basically the whole gist, and it's just a whole bunch of hijinks and pranks. It's definitely more of a comedy action because they get themselves in a situation where you're like, "Whoa! Like, how are they even going to get out of this? Like, you don't think it's even possible." And but so I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to ruin anything. But
Well,
yeah,
it sounds like that movie and Spencer Confidential could be a really cool double feature one day. As far as like if you want to see two good action movies, one that's a little bit more serious and one that's got comedy, that could be fun. Who knows? I mean,
yeah,
they're both on Netflix, so that would be something to explore.
oh yeah, absolutely. I think that'd be a good choice because yeah, if you're into crime and action movies, these two are definitely the ones you want to watch.
I think
But
I'll
definitely,
try
yeah,
the double feature.
yeah, you should try it out. If you want to go, I'd probably go serious first and then end it with funny.
Yeah.
Uh, my personal preference, so that way you don't end on kind of a somber note. So yeah, that'd be a good idea actually. I didn't even think about that for a double feature.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really cool double feature options if you go out and research. There's like two movies that you wouldn't think have anything to do with each other, but like watching them back to back, it's just fun for some reason. I don't know any
Yeah,
offhand, but you go out there and look. There's a lot of double feature suggestions out there, but that to me just sounded like an interesting one. But yeah.
yeah, that would for sure because yeah, it's kind of contrasting, but at the same time, it's still got a common theme involved.
Hmm.
So yeah, there you have it. So I'll leave it at that. So do you have any other TV shows or movies to talk about?
No. Oh, wait, I do have one. So
Oh,
while we're on the topic of Netflix, I just recently started watching Community, which I know I'm late to the party on.
mhm.
Um, but it was one of those things where when it came out years ago, it wasn't something that I was necessarily engaged with or related to
Mhm.
until now. When I give it a try, I'm like, okay, this totally works. After I'd
Yeah,
been in college and kind of seen what that's like and met some of the people there, it definitely made sense watching Community now years later. And seeing how those stories kind of roll out is really funny. I'm only 3 or 4 episodes in. I really like it so far. I think it's really great. You have basically, in a nutshell, for those who are unfamiliar, like I was, you have this cast of students at this community college. It's not one of the highest ranked ones, but you have all these people. You have a guy that's older, maybe he's 50 or 60s, and he's kind of like maybe trying different careers and going to school or going back
yeah,
to school. And then you have some new college freshmen that are in there, and they got their high school attitude still. And then you've got the main character. I forget his name, but he's kind of this cocky lawyer that had to go back to school because for some reason his degrees were invalid because he did it in a different country or something like that. But all that background information, it kind of feeds into this great chemistry that these cast of characters have, and it's got Donald Glover in it. It's got Chevy Chase, and then a few other people you've probably seen on TV before that I don't know the names of,
yeah.
but like I
Joel
said,
McHale. It's funny because Joel McHale is Jeff, the main character you're talking about, the
yeah,
lawyer. And he well, this is a side note, but anyone watching the Tiger King documentary series, he did a follow up with all the characters, and
Oh wow.
he's the one that hosted it. Yeah, so
So
just
he
kind
kind
of
of had his own little community study group with the
yeah,
cast.
yeah, exactly. He had a community group with them. But yeah, no, Community is one of those shows where I think it's very underrated because one of my cousins suggested for me to watch it, and you watch it, and like you said, it's just funny to see these characters that you're like, wow, I definitely know a person like that in real life. Everyone knows
Yeah,
someone like that. Especially like I said, if you've been to a community college
yeah,
or taking any college classes, really, you'll see people that imitate them to a T, and you're just like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
yeah. And Chevy Chase
So
basically plays Clark Griswold. He's like the out of touch, old guy that just says
yeah,
weird things. And you've got Donald Glover, who plays the young, cocky athlete from high school, and he acts just like that.
it's funny because people now will only know him as Childish Gambino, but
Right,
it's funny because Community was dated back. He wasn't even Childish Gambino at this point. It
right.
was kind of what got him, I guess you could say, into entertainment. But
Hmm.
yeah, and Chevy Chase, it's awesome because they're just like it's like they gave him that role and they're like, just go wild, do whatever you want, like go crazy. And Chevy Chase is like, you got it, and he plays his character perfect. I mean, all of them play their character so perfectly.
Yeah. But hearing you, talk positively about it, and you've seen the whole thing makes me, hopeful that I'll enjoy the rest of it. But like I said, I'm only 3 or 4 episodes in, so I don't have a lot to go off of, other than I
Oh,
love where they're kind of going. In the two guys that wrote it are the Russo brothers, who also directed Captain America: Civil War, Avengers: Infinity War, and Avengers: Endgame. So
right.
those are masterpieces of cinema right there.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
no, the writing on the show is for sure. It's fast paced and it's great. I mean,
yeah,
it's
it's
like
got that same witty comedy that you get with the Marvel movies, so you can see the
mhm,
resemblance.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, like so, there it is. Y'all heard it, folks. Go check out Community on Netflix.